First and foremost, I really appreciate you guys for taking some time out of your night to come learn. You're the best. Hope everyone had an awesome day and an awesome weekend. So I'm just going to read over some questions and let's go over what do we have here. Is there anything opposite of a market maker buyback? Yes, it is called selling of the inventory. So they're either short or they're either long. Either way, they want to go delta neutral and they want to get rid of their positions either by buying back their positions or selling their inventory off at the end of the day. I made an entire YouTube video about that. It's kind of a longer explanation. So for sake of time, just head over to my YouTube. Kind of one of the more recent videos. Definitely recommend checking that puppy out. Super, super informative. How do you guys think about the market? Bearish with a dead cat bounce? Yes, I believe we are just kind of having a dead cat bounce. Hopefully sometime this week, and then we continue lower. So my target is probably about down like 260, 255. But I do want to see this gap filled first. I want to see this overhead gap being filled first, just to pick up this liquidity and then trap out a lot of buyers and continue lower. We could very well have a true relief rally because of the midterms coming up, like the elections coming up. So we could get maybe a pump to like 380, maybe 390. I really don't think we're going to go higher than 400. If we end up doing, very possible, anything can happen. The next major level will be 408, this gap fill. Downside levels, if we cannot hold 355, we go to 350. 340 is the big level because this is the pre-corona high. So that's going to be very defended. 340, if we do not hold 340, 330, 320, 300. Worst case scenario, if everything ends up playing out how it did in 08. I shared this on my newsletter last night, the comparisons and the differences and how honestly how scarily the same 08 is looking to 2022 at the moment. We could very well see the bottom in May 2023 and at the low of corona lows. Now that's absolutely the worst case scenario, but we do want to be, at least have that scenario in the back of our mind, because if that does happen, we want to be prepared for that. We want to be really cash heavy, because this is very intense opportunities for us. Long-term wealth is made in bear markets. Like you buy when everyone's in fear. So this is good for, long-term shares, portfolio wise, leaps, all that type of stuff. You can also buy leaps to the downside as well. You don't have to wait. If we end up getting a dead cat bounce and we reject off like 375, 380, and we start seeing a rejection and bears waking up, that's another good spot where you can end up entering puts as well. Usually for about, you don't want to do it too short term. I would recommend minimum 1 month expiration, ideally like 2 to 3 months though. So that's just kind of my overall analysis for the next couple months for SPY. This isn't going to happen, like this week, next week. This is going to happen over the next couple months. We're going to have, we're going to have short-term relief rallies. We're going to have drops and pops. It's not just going to be straight up. It's not going to be straight down. VWAP explained. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do a really quick explanation. I have another one on my YouTube as well. This goes more in depth, but anyway, VWAP is a volume weighted average profile. It gets reset every singular day. This is only for an intraday basis. You do not want to swing with this. This is good for swing traders, are good for anchored VWAP, something a little bit different. Regular standardized VWAP is good for intraday traders, either scalpers or day traders. Pretty much really quick, if it's above, price action is above the VWAP, the white line, considered bullish. If it's under the VWAP, it is considered bearish. There's the same exact thing mentality wise as regular moving averages. If there's VWAP bounces, there's VWAP rejections, and then there's VWAP crossovers. It works exactly the same as standardized moving averages. Hope that helps. If you do not have VWAP on your chart, and if you're an intraday trader, highly recommend putting this puppy on. What else do we have? Thoughts on Meta? Why does it keep tanking? I don't know. Let me look at it. Well, let's see here. Let me go to the weekly. So Meta. Ooh, you guys lost your 137 today. 137, we really want to see reclaimed tomorrow, or we can continue down to 136, 135. So 137 was definitely an area that we want to hold. So if we don't hold 136, definitely we're going to probably see 135. So that's definitely something we want to keep in mind. We could very well hold this low and potentially soar back up. But it's really hard to say, but we really want to see that 137 reclaim in order to push back up. If we don't reclaim, we don't hold, we go down to 135. Easy peasy. Hope that helps. What else do we have? What are some tips you could give to a trader with a small account and only swing trades? So good question. So swing trades are honestly perfectly fine, especially for smaller account traders. You can definitely grow an account with swing trades, but you want to be entering swings at a specific time period, usually after a recent low or after a recent rejection. You don't want to just be kind of entering swings like mid ground. It's not really in your best interest. So like swings aren't just, you can't just put them on every singular day. Like some market environments aren't really the best for swings. Like if it's like super choppy, then really it's not really super smart to enter swings unless you're buying time. Like if you're buying 1, 2, 3 months worth of time, cool. But since you're on a small account, you don't really have the luxury of purchasing 3 months of time expiration. So you definitely want to be wise about that, and ideally you want to be buying time exposure regardless. I would recommend at least probably like 2-week minimum time exposure. Anything less can be kind of risky. Swinging 1-week expiration contracts is incredibly risky and just really not worth your time, because the theta decay can absolutely basically just bend you over. And yeah, so definitely I would recommend, if you do decide to swing trade, just purchase 2 weeks of expiration. So this way, if, example, if something like this happens on Meta, you're okay because you have that extra time cushion, right? You have that little cushion. Whereas if you're on the weekly contract for Meta, you basically need to get out by Wednesday, maximum by Wednesday, because after Wednesday, your theta is going to absolutely kill you. Like tomorrow or Wednesday, you need to get out of a Meta if you're in this weekly up. If you're in the weekly contracts, you need to get out by or before Wednesday, or your contracts are going to be GG, just straight up. So that's why it's very risky to swing weekly expirations. You want to usually try to get at least 2-week expirations. The only time that weekly expirations are cool is if you hold one singular day and one singular day only, usually overnight. That's honestly the only time I will ever open a weekly expiration. Usually I enter minimum 2-week expiration time, just because I want to have that cushion. You always want to have a cushion. Hope that helps. Let me see what else we have. What do you think held up the market today instead of having a meltdown? Probably the growth names. Growth names did pretty well today. Would you recommend only trading QQQ and SPY for people starting out? Yes and no. So for starting out, perfectly fine, because it allows you to kind of get more used to it and everything like that. But I wouldn't really just rely only on QQQ or SPY, because you can miss out on tons of tons and tons of opportunities. Like example, myself included, this is a real life example from me this year. I primarily was only an index trader, right? And then during the beginning of the year, my one buddy was like whispering in my ears, like, "Hey, dude, you should look at oil, bro. You should look at oil." And I'm like, "Yeah, no worries, no worries. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna play SPY," because that's all I was doing. I missed out on this entire rally. Everything. Because I tunneled on SPY. This is like the only time this has happened in the last, like, this doesn't really happen very often. Like after the Corona lows and after this little pump, this shit doesn't happen super often. And I missed that incredible opportunity. Like I missed most of oil because I was literally tunnel visioning, right? Another example. What else? Not this one. What the hell is it? This one. Yeah. So I missed pretty much most of the Corona stocks, like the Corona stocks, like the at-home stocks, like Docu, Peloton, Roku, Zoom, all of those. I missed all that as well because I was tunnel visioning and SPY and QQQ. Not every day is a SPY and QQQ day either. Like SPY and QQQ could be chopping around. And most times people are like, oh, wow, man, this day is so shitty to trade. No, not really. You just don't have proper screening because even if the indexes are choppy, I will bet you $1,000 that there will still be some other opportunity in the market. And it's your job as a short-term trader to find it. Like if it's not indexes, it's probably growth. If it's not growth, it's probably oil. If it's not this, it's probably that. Like you have to find it. Just because SPY and QQQ are choppy doesn't mean there's no opportunity. There will always be an opportunity in the market, and your job as a trader is to find it. Hope that helps. What else we have here? Let's see here. Yesterday, excuse me. Hey, Scrub, yesterday I saw your charting style. It looked easy. Could you please show us how to do your charting? Oh, geez. Geez, this is a longer question. So I'll do it really quick. So usually, so if you want more of an in-depth answer, just I have an entire like hour-long video of how I do my charting and my thought process behind it. But pretty much just to really, really sum it up, a lot of people start at the daily or the weekly time frame, right, to do their levels. I do not do that. I start much higher. I start on the quarterly, so the 3-month, because it's much easier to find my levels and it's a lot quicker. So in this case, instead of looking at like, okay, where's all the bounces, where's all the respections, blah, blah, blah on my daily, I can just do 3-month and be like, oh, wow, this is a level really quickly because, okay, this is a 3-month level because 3 months worth of price action is this candle. Therefore, that's a level. I don't even have to look at anything. Okay, that's a level. That's a wick. Cool. That's a level. Cool. That's a 3-month low. Cool. That's a level. Cool. So in the matter of 30 seconds, I just found my very, very large targets and it didn't take me long. Okay, let's do the same thing in this 2-month. Fill in the blanks. Cool. Nothing really else major. Next. Monthly. Cool. There we go. I literally just found all my major targets in the matter of 2 minutes. Boom. And then you do the regular, okay, how's the weekly look? How many touches can I find? Okay, how's the daily? How many touches can I find? There you go. But regardless, you just found your major targets in the matter of a whopping 2 minutes. Congratulations. If you want to look at the overall like actual charting video of how I do my levels, so on my YouTube, I have a couple different videos. It's like probably 3 hours in total of just videos. So if you're ever curious, feel free. Hope that helps. Could you kindly share the strategies for trading balance days? So balance days, these revolve more around selling premium and spread. Geez, my goodness, my tongue. This balance days are more for selling premium, basically being an option seller, and for structuring spreads. I'm not going to go over that in this video session. It's going to take me, just to answer that question alone, it'll take me about 20-30 minutes. Also have a video on my YouTube about how to do spreads. For spreads, that's very good for balanced markets. So you can definitely make money selling premium and or just opening spreads for balanced markets. Hope that helps. What VWAP indicator do you use? Yeah, sure, I got you. I just use the regular standard VWAP. So now something to be mindful of. So here, so this is what the usual VWAP will look like if you load it up in your chart. I personally do not like to use this. I just use the mid level. So like right here, that's the mid level that I use. Pretty much what the top and bottom line is all just a standard deviation. Standard deviation, one up and one down. So basically you just use these as targets. So like this up here would be the resistance target, and this would be a support target. So basically a possible bounce or a possible resistance. You can use this if you want, absolutely. I personally just don't. I just use the regular VWAP line itself. So entirely up to you. People are asking what indicators I use. I use the 200-day moving average exponential, 300-day moving average exponential, and the VWAP. That's pretty much all I use, plus the volume profile, SVP. It's really all I use. I like to kind of keep a minimalized chart. What is the golden pocket? Yeah, good question. So the golden pocket is a sequence of specific ratios. So here, let's just do real quick. So let's do from swing high to swing low. Let's do swing high. You know what? Let's do it this way. Hold on 1 sec. Let's do SPY because everyone's really curious about SPY. There we go. We'll do current swing high, current swing low. So within these yellow boxes right here, this 618, 707, 786, this is pretty much saying this is a golden pocket area. This area, pretty much including with the 50% as well, like the 50% ratio, this entire area is basically a major respect zone, where it could either be rejected or bounced depending on the specific bias and depending on how you draw. If it's a swing high to a low, it's going to chart it like this. If it's a swing low to a high, it's going to chart it flip-flopped. Hope that helps. Sometimes you say Apple is weak, et cetera, et cetera. How do you identify that? By looking at the overall larger cap stocks and seeing how they're also performing. So like if they are performing well and Apple is lagging, then Apple is a sign of relative weakness. Apple is not doing very well when the other names are doing better, right? So that's just kind of what I mean by weakness. Okay, hold on, me a second. So that's another question. That's a good question. 1 sec. Okay. So intraday question. Intraday question. At what point do you consider a breakout valid past resistance / support? Take today on SPY 370, for example. So yeah, this is a very good question. This is where a lot of people probably got trapped out. This is where a lot of FOMO happened as well, because of just euphoria. So like this one candle here is basically euphoric. That's what market makers want. They want to entice some sort of reaction. They either want to entice greed or they want to entice fear. In this case, these two candles, like in this specifically, this candle was more greed. So a lot of people saw this 370, this 370 pierce and immediately got into calls. That's really not the best idea because if you think about it, within these last 15 minutes, we went up $3 almost. Why would you buy calls up here? Like, does that make sense? We had no pullback. If you wanted to buy calls, you would want to get in here on the VWAP somewhere down here. Like you don't want to be chasing the top. Like this is when you will lose the most amount of money if you chase tops. Same thing here. If you chase, bottoms, which most people do, you lose money. Don't chase bottoms. Don't chase tops. Get in on pullbacks. Get in on pullbacks. Very, very important. Don't chase shit. This is how you'll lose money. Jesus. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, pal. Is Peloton ever coming back? I have $60,000 invested at $57 a share. Geez, bro, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it does for you for your sake, but this is a lesson to not load the boat on highly overvalued stocks. Just that's a real life lesson. I'm sorry to hear that. Fingers crossed for you, man. I'm just reading through questions. Oh, geez, this is a long question. Hey, I know you talked about a last minute mentorship slot during last night's session, and honestly, I totally forgot to DM you last night. Is there any chance there's still a spot left? I'd love to join. Thank you for all you do. You, sir, are a kind person. I appreciate you very, very much. No worries that you forgot to message me. I'm sure you're retired. Yeah, just for in the spirit of fall and spooky time, I'll happily open one last slot for you. Just first come, first start, first come, first serve, one spot only. Just, message me if you're curious. 3 months total, 30 hours, 2 sessions a week, market recaps, lots of information. I'm basically going to teach you how to trade and hold your hand. So that sounds interesting to you, just message me privately and I'll happily throw you a little discount since it starts tomorrow. Awesome. Appreciate you again. That's very nice of you. But I'll open a slot for you just because you're a kind person. So first come, first serve. All right, what else we have here? Okay, so I keep seeing all these. All right, this is something that we need to address. I keep seeing a lot of comments about Meta and basically saying, "Oh, I hope it goes up." This is not the type of thought process that you need to, express. Like just saying, "Oh, I hope it goes up," doesn't mean the stock is going to go up. You have to literally look at what is going on. Literally, like, what is the stock telling you? What is the overall market telling you? Is it clearly bullish? Is it clearly bearish? What's going on? Like, if it's clearly bearish as shit, and there's really no bulls even stepping up, and we just keep making lower highs, lower lows, then the likelihood of that continuing is pretty strong. Like, it's going to probably keep going lower until it breaks that structure. So just saying, "Oh, I hope it goes higher," is very silly. Because when you have that hopium aspect, that's honestly when you lose the absolute most amount of money. All right. And then also, I keep seeing another type of comments in here. Basically, I wouldn't say necessarily blaming Brett, but like, no one told you to click a button. No one told you to enter a position. Like, honestly, there's no one to blame but you yourself. And if you're still holding on a losing position, that's also your own fault. No one is holding a gun to your face and be like, "Bro, you need to enter this position." No. If you opened a position completely blind, have no idea what the hell you're doing, no idea what you're looking at, and you're just basically blindly entering, that is your own fault. That is no one else's fault. That is your fault. So that's something we need to address and not point fingers at other people because, having a bad day, having a bad week, that's fine, but like just saying, "Oh, this trader is bad," or "Oh, this signal is bad." Yes, not every signal is going to hit. That's the name of the game. But you also can't just basically have a one-sided bias and be like, "Oh, well, XYZ is not doing well, and I hope it goes back up." Blah 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 blah. Like, no one told you to enter that position. Like, like you should really figure out what you're even doing. Like, if you don't know what's going on and like what the stock is doing, I would highly recommend, like I've said this before, I would highly recommend just writing it down, be like, "Hey, what is here? XYZ person called this out at this time frame. Write it down." So like, let's just do a real life example. Okay, I called out SPY puts at 10:05 a.m. tomorrow. You don't have to take that. Literally just write it down and be like, "Okay, how did it play out?" Look back like 30 minutes later, an hour later, whatever. Look back. Be like, "Okay, did it work out? Did it not work out? Why?" So this way, you can see what I'm looking at and not risk your own money, but still learn, right? Because this is the important part. You want to learn and become self-sufficient. You don't want to rely on someone and then basically point the finger at them if the position goes improperly, because they didn't, they didn't, in a sense, hold a gun to your face and be like, bro, you should get in these positions. Like that didn't happen. Like you willingly got into the position and you willingly allowed it to go down like 50%, right? So like you could have easily cut it sooner, but you didn't because you had a hopium aspect. Like this is very, very important. That's something that's definitely a big pet peeve of mine. It's like, I can understand you're in a losing position and I feel for you, but if you don't know what you're doing and you're relying on someone else and you're basically having hopium, then at a certain point in time, I don't really feel bad for you. Like it's up to you to kind of take the reins and learn for yourself. Like you want to be self-sufficient. That's the goal here, because one, this, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this service could possibly be disabled by the end of the year. Maybe every one of the people you're following is just gone. Let's pretend, everyone's gone. Then what are you going to do? Who are you going to rely on? Right? You want to be self-sufficient. You don't want to rely on other people. You want to do this stuff yourself. That's why I'm very, very big on the education aspect and learning, because if you don't learn, you're never going to be self-sufficient. You'll never, ever be truly profitable. Sure, you might make profits and by relying on someone, but when those people are no longer there, you're going to blow all that money right back, right? So especially if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Like the amount of messages that I get on a weekly basis of like, hey, scrub, I was up 50 grand, bro. And I've been trading for like 6 months. I'm doing so well. And I hear back from them like a month later and they're down 45K. They lost all of it because they have no idea what the hell they're doing. Right? You can get lucky. You can get some really good signals, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't know how to trade, if you don't know how to keep that money, you're going to keep losing it over and over and over. The moral of the story, don't blame others if your position goes poorly. If you followed up, if you followed them and it goes poorly, don't blame others. Learn for yourself, be self-sufficient. If you don't know what the hell is going on, invest in some sort of mentorship, education course, from someone reputable, and let's get this shit going, right? So I went off on a tangent there, but that's honestly super, super important information. Hold on, let me keep reading. Do you have any opinion on stop losses as using dollar amounts or percentages best for a smaller or tighter stop loss? So I've went over this as well a couple different times. So stop losses, I do not have a specific stop loss in mind. It depends on how I enter and where I enter. If I get a good entry, then my stop loss is clearly going to be tighter. If I get a subpar entry, but my position is still intact, my thesis is still intact, then I have to allow my stop loss to be wider because of that. So my generalized range for stop losses is 7 to 30%. If I get a really good entry, my stop loss is tight as shit. If I get a subpar entry, I have to be okay with allowing it to be a little bit wider. Therefore, it's different for every circumstance. You do not want to have one specific set stop loss in mind. Doesn't really help, doesn't really work that well for you. Hope that helps. One second, still reading. How much money do you recommend for selling premium when starting? Honestly, you could probably get away with like a $500 account. You don't really need anything super, super major. About $500 is pretty good for selling premium aspects. Honestly, you could even get away with like 300, truthfully. But more cushion would be about $500. Hold on, still reading. Give me a second. Oh geez. What is your opinion about large option orders, either call or puts coming in on SPY, like $1 million calls for 3 weeks out, as an example? That's pretty much just hedgies just, putting in their positions for the October monthly chain. $1 million isn't really too much for SPY or QQQ. It's honestly, yes, $1 million is a good bit of money, but for the overall market aspect, like SPY and QQQ, $1 million is not, that much. You want to see a couple $1 million, then it becomes kind of like an eye raiser. How do you prepare pre-market? I just kind of have a generalized watch list for the overall week. Like, here's my overall watch list for the week. And then I kind of just say, hey, I just go down the list and be like, okay, what looks good this morning, what doesn't look great, and then I kind of just filter it from there. So like in this case, I don't know, like 20 stocks or something, 15, 20 stocks. So then in the morning, I'm like, okay, which one of these look the best? Like which, like 3 to 5 of these look the best. And then I kind of just, narrow it down from there. So this way, I only look for like more A+ setups, right? So this, it's very helpful. I'll just leave this up here if you want to check out my watch list for the week. That's pretty much what I'm watching the entire week. How do you message you privately? I'll drop my information in a second. Just give me a minute. Oh geez, what else we have here? Oh yeah, I like this comment. I keep averaging down a lot and I lose a lot. So this is actually a very, very good information to get to talk about. So just a generalized rule of thumb, please stop averaging down a lot of times. Because if you think about it, you're just basically buying more theta and you're just digging deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole. So me personally, I will average down one singular time, like one time only. And that is if my play is still intact, right? Like if my structure is still good and maybe I just didn't get the best entry, but it looks like I can get a good, opportunity at a better price and my trade is still intact, cool. I'm going to average down one singular time, no other times. Because like real life example, when I first started trading, I had that mentality where I had the hopium, right? I was like, oh shit, I'm just going to keep averaging down, averaging down, averaging down. It's going to work out for me. I would average down like 3-4 separate times during the position. And instead of losing like $50, I would lose like $400 or $500 because I just kept adding more to the pit. And it's not in your best interest. Just take the freaking L and just get back in. If anything, literally just get back in or just move on. Don't just keep adding and adding and adding to a losing position. That's not gonna be great, right? So that's about averaging down. Do it literally one time, please. All right, this is another comment before, because remember when I had that little spiel about 10 minutes ago about they didn't, you don't have to take the signals. Someone said we're really paying for the signals so we can take them. Actually, you're paying for the analysis. You're paying to learn. You're not necessarily paying for signals. Yes, signals are a part of it, but we're not saying blindly take signals. We want you to learn. Like if you see my analysis, like I try my absolute best to like show you what I'm seeing and explain it to you. I do not like spoon feeding people. Like I will bend over backwards for you, but I'm not going to open your mouth and put the spoon in your mouth, bro. Like I'm not doing that. I'm going to give you the keys to the castle and it's your job to open it. Like I'm not opening the door for you. I will give you all of the information possible, but I'm not spoon feeding you. That is where I do not do. I do not resonate with that. It's your job to be sufficient. Just because you're paying for a service, you're paying to learn. That's it. You're paying to learn. Like, I'm sorry about it, but you're paying to learn. And if you're not willing to learn, you're not going to be profitable. Like, I'm sorry. Like I said this before, you might get some good money, but if you don't know what the hell you're doing, you're going to lose it. So just because you're paying for a service yes, you can still take signals, but don't blindly take the signals. Like at least do some due diligence and figure out why these people are calling them. Like why is Brett calling it? Why is Kev calling it? Why am I calling it? Like figure that it out. Don't just be like, oh shit, they're calling it in. Like no, do some research, be self-sufficient. Very important. All right, one sec. Baba. Yeah, sure. I'll do some Baba. Why not? Chinese stocks are interesting recently. So Baba is pretty much in the ditches right now. We're in a very key spot. We need to see this monthly level hold of about let's just call it $78. $78 doesn't hold. We don't really have very much support until 75.60 and 73. So we really need to see this area hold. Well, actually right there to be accurate, we need to see that hold, and we would like to see this level 78 become new support in order to continue higher to about $80 would be the first target. Honestly, I do have high hopes for Baba. Like Baba is definitely a good Chinese company. It's basically, Amazon in a sense, but just for China. So overall, I do think this is a good long-term investment. Maybe not right now. Maybe we could possibly see lower, very possible. But this is definitely something to keep on watch for long-term holdings. Do I trade full time? Yes, I have traded full time for the last year and a half or so. I've been trading for about 2.5 years, and I went full time after about a year. And why do you think that? Because I put the work in, I became self-sufficient. Boom. One sec, still reading. One sec. Trailing stop losses. Yeah, so about trailing stop losses, you can do it a couple different ways. You could use a moving average as a trailing stop loss. So a good one to use is pretty much like the 9 EMA. Another good one is possibly the 21 EMA as a trailing stop, or you could just do like a specific percentage. Percentages that are pretty good for trailing stops is about 10 to 15%. So when you're in profits and you're good to go, you could just put a trailing stop, either 10, 15%. And if you want to walk away, go for it. Or if you want to manage it, just do the trailing stop by a percentage, or use a moving average, either the 9 to 20 to 21, or a VWAP, anything like that. You could do trailing stop losses a couple different ways, but those are just a couple different ways to help out. Hope that makes sense. Can you show us some examples of supply and demand? I have an entire video about that one. That's going to take me a bit. Definitely check that one out. It's going to be a little bit more in depth, but will really kind of help you understand the market, because the market moves in 4 ways and 4 ways only. And once you understand that and you can identify that truthfully, you will be much better. So definitely I would recommend, if you don't know how to trade supply and demand or how to even find it, check out my YouTube. I have a couple of videos about it. Super helpful. Hope that helps. Why does everyone ask who I am? My name is Scrub Nugget. Okay. My name is Scrub Nugget. I'm an analyst in Boiler Room Trades. I am using Brett's Zoom account because he has a maximum participants. Yes, I am Scrub using Brett's account. I don't know how this is confusing. But yeah, just to clear everything up, my name is Scrub Nugget and I'm an analyst. Hope that helps. Will you ever start signaling? I do signal. Most of my stuff is analysis, but I still do signal. So, I mean, you can still pick up quite a lot of information from my analysis. Also, please don't forget, I trade 2 accounts at one specific time. So it can be a little bit difficult for me to trade both accounts and signal via like text. So just kind of be aware of that. So I do my best to kind of give you guys ahead of time. Usually I kind of say, hey, do this if this happens a couple of minutes beforehand. So like I'm giving you guys ahead of time notice. So like I said, I don't really spoon feed. I'm giving you the information. I'm giving you the keys to the castle. Just open the door, bro. Just open the door. On sec still rating. Yes, yes. I love this question. Does adding to winners work? Yes. This is very, very important because people honestly kind of get this twisted. They usually only enter one specific time and that's it. So you want to be very comfortable with adding into positions and subtracting into positions the entire time. So basically, let's kind of give an example. Let's say I get into a position with say 3 contracts. It goes up like 40%. I cut 2 contracts off the table. And then I say, oh, wow, it bounced really hard off of a VWAP. I'm going to add more into my position because we're still uptrending. This still looks good. My trade's a winner. So I want to add to this winner. So I'm adding more to my position. And then once we possibly leg up higher again, I'm going to be starting to subtract more of my contracts. So you want to be comfortable with adding and subtracting throughout the entire time. You don't want to just be open a position and then close a position. You want to be really milking out a play. Like if you identify a winning, if it's a winner, it's definitely directional, it's going in your favor. You want to milk that shit as long as possible because that trade can make your entire week. That can make your entire month. Hell, that can make your entire year if you milk it correctly. Like it's not far-fetched to say that one trade can make your entire year. So yes, be comfortable adding and subtracting into your position. Uh, How much money did I lose at first when learning? Good question. I started from a very tiny account, so mine might seem insignificant to you, but at the time for me, this was a decent bit of money. So I started from a pretty small account, like $250, $500. And I think I lost like, I'm not too sure actually, like $5,000 to $10,000 or so. My first almost year of trading. Actually probably like my first like 9 months or so. And then once I start, buckling down in a sense, I ended up making pretty much most of my losses back and going pretty much borderline break even for the year, like 3, 4 months later. Just because honestly, I just buckled down. I was like, okay, this is not working, time to get serious. And I kind of just, ever since then, I just really put the work in and you could kind of see when you put the work in, you reap the rewards. But yeah, I lost probably about maximum like 10K when I first started trading. Will you be more active on YouTube? I post like 1 or 2 videos a week on YouTube. So I'm doing my best to be active here. What is the easiest way to, oh geez, what is the easiest way to learn how to trade? Is there a certain strategy that beginner traders should focus on mastering first? Because I feel very lost and I want to be self-sufficient. Good question. There's no real, how do I put it? There's no holy grail. There's no holy grail. There's no one indicator. There's no one strategy that's better than others. Every single trader is different. One strategy that could work for me might not work at all for you. Maybe I'm a scalper. Maybe you're not a scalper. Maybe you're more of a swing trader, right? So every specific trader is different. Like me personally, I don't really do very well swing trading lately. I'm more of an intraday trader. That's cool. I can, as long as I'm able to make money, it doesn't really matter how I make money. I could be a swing trader, spread trader, sell premium, scalper, day trader, whatever the hell I do. I can still, as long as I make money at the end of the day, it really does not matter. I could even be a long-term investor, whatever works. So it's kind of really difficult of an answer, to give you because there's so many different avenues for you. But I would just honestly, if you want to get into options, just at least learn the fundamentals of like how an option contract works, what implied volatility is, how the market moves, supply and demand 101, human psychology of how the market, market internals, sector rotation, like candlesticks, price action, like these are kind of the things you want to learn first and like the groundwork. And then you want to kind of go, up and from there and just do kind of stepping stones. But honestly, the easiest way to learn, I'm a huge advocate. Find someone that's more knowledgeable than you, pick their brain, pay for some sort of education, make sure they're vetted, make sure they're, profitable and know what the hell they're talking about. Because there's a lot of fake people out there nowadays, unfortunately. But, try to seek out education from someone that's further than you, because they've already been in your shoes, right? That's very important. Like every single thing you're struggling with right now, they've already done 20 times. So they can be like, hey, bud, don't do this. This isn't going to help. Instead, do this. This is going to help you a lot more, right? So it basically just expedites your training, it expedites your learning curve and really, really accelerates you along. So honestly, that is the easiest way to learn. But if you want the harder way to learn, you just kind of do it by yourself and just do stepping stone, stepping stone, stepping stone, stepping stone. Also perfectly fine, but it will take you longer. So it really depends on, how aggressive you want your learning curve to be. It could take 6 months if you, put the work in. It could take 2 years if you half-ass it. Could even take a couple of years, who knows? But I hope that helps. What did it take for you to be self-sufficient? What changed? Was it awareness of market structure, mechanics, honestly, I stopped fucking around. Let's just say it that way. I the first like 9 months of my trading, I just basically half-assed it. I rolled out of bed 10 minutes before market open, basically just tried to straight up half-assed it. I didn't do analysis, I didn't do my research, I didn't study, didn't journal, didn't review, didn't back test, didn't do any of that shit. And I just half-assed it for like 9 months. And I was like thinking to myself, why am I losing money? Why am I losing money? Then I was like, okay, clearly I'm losing money because I'm not putting in any of the work. And once I started being more accountable with myself and putting in the work, then that's kind of what helped, change the tide for me and actually start becoming more profitable and not relying on anyone, et cetera, et cetera. Hope that helps. When is the next time you'll do a mentorship? Oh, geez. Probably not until like January or February. So that's why I'm saying if you really do want to learn stuff, please just, message me because I'm not going to be doing another mentorship for a couple months. So I'll make some room for you if you really want to come in now, but my spots are definitely limited. Like I said, 3 months long, 30-hour duration. I will teach you everything I know and make sure you become self-sufficient. That is my goal. So that helps. Just message me and we can talk about it personally. Appreciate your interest. What do you do to clear your head after a red day? I just tell myself that it's just a day. The day is over, right? It's, you know, that the trade is over. Just kind of just understand that that trade is over. You cannot change it, right? It's in the past. Therefore, don't get angry, don't get upset, don't get emotional. Obviously, you will still feel a type of way, but don't allow yourself to fester. When I first started trading, I would fester for hours, days. Like I would take a big loss and like 4 days later, I'd be thinking about it, right? Now, if I take a loss, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll be a little emotional for like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and I'm done. That's it. I got it out of my system. It's a new trade. It's a new day, right? Just make sure you review the trade and be like, okay, what the hell did I do incorrectly? So this way I don't do it again. So just don't allow the trade to fester, because then it can honestly snowball into the next day, right? It can snowball into the next day, and then you can just lose your confidence and actually lose more money. So just understand that it's just a loss. Losses happen. It's all a part of the game. Yeah, just don't allow it to fester. Allow yourself to like feel for it, 15, 30 minutes, and that's it. Don't allow yourself to think about it 6 hours later, right? But yeah, hope that helps. How many accounts did I blow? Probably like 10. Do you have a daily goal? I mean, not really. Having goals is cool and all, but like if I set a goal, then it's unrealistic expectations, right? It's like, okay, I want to make XYZ today. Then it's basically my brain looks for all these different scenarios to make that. And what happens is I might not make it, or if I set the expectation and the limit, then I can maybe stop myself out soon, sooner than I needed to. Maybe for example, let's say my goal is $100. That's like my goal. But what if I end up having a really good trade? Am I just going to cut it short? Right. So like, yeah, I would say more like a weekly goal, if anything, or like a monthly goal. I wouldn't go day to day, truthfully. It's not really the best. What was the hardest psychological aspect of trading for you to get over? Ego and knowing when to take a loss and accepting a loss. One sec, still reading some questions, just scrolling down real quick. How much is your mentorship? Just message me personally. We can talk about it. Appreciate your interest. You're the best. How long have you been trading? I think I've answered this tons of times, but I've been trading for 2.5 years. Oh my goodness, please. Oh geez, this is actually a very, very good comment. I am mad at my wife after a red day. Yes, this is honestly, guys, please tune in. This is like, please, if anything, if you didn't grasp any other information, tune your ears in right now. This is probably the most serious thing I will say to you the entire night. When I first started trading and I took losses, I would project onto my loved ones. Subconsciously, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then it dawned on me that I was doing it, and I ended up pushing away very dear loved ones that were just trying to help me. And they didn't do anything wrong. They were just trying to support me and just be there for me. They didn't push the buttons. They didn't enter the trade. They didn't lose the money. They didn't do anything, right? They did not do anything besides be there for you after you just took a big ass L. So please, this is another thing that's very, very serious. Do not project onto your loved ones, because I fell victim to that, and I lost a very dear relationship of mine, and I pushed a person away that I really care about that just tried to help me because I was subconsciously projecting onto her, basically being rude, cranky, irritable, bicker for months. And she put up with it for months until she didn't. Right. So please, that's why I'm saying don't allow this red day to fester. Just you take the time. Don't talk to your loved one. Don't project onto your kid or your family or whoever. Take the time, sit alone, 15, 30 minutes. Be angry, be upset, be emotional, whatever the hell you want to feel. But do it by yourself. And then be done with it. Let it go. Don't take it out on your loved one. Don't make my mistake. I lost a very dear relationship because I just projected and projected and projected, and it's honestly a very, very important information that most people will not tell you. That's the psychological part about trading. Be aware of your losses. Don't blame them on others. Take responsibility. Don't allow them to fester. Maximum, you have 30 minutes. That is your time limit. 30 minutes to be pissy, emotional, cry over it, be angry, whatever you want to do. Get it out of your system. You have 30 minutes. That's all you have. Then you're done. Go on with the rest of your day. Your day is not over. Your day is not ruined because you took a loss. Even if you took a $30,000 loss, congrats, you took a loss. That's fine. It sucks. Losses lead to great, pretty much the way I think of it is losses and mistakes lead to great learning lessons. Just, yes, you lost money, but you can't take it back, right? You cannot take it back. So stop festering on it. 30 minutes is your max. That's it. Hope that helps. How do you know when to be done for the day? When you make ample profit, or when you hit your max pain threshold. So if you hit a max pain threshold of your account, if you lost a couple times in a row, you're done. If you got a good profit for the day, you're done. So kind of a rule of thumb is if you get about like 2 to 3% of your account gain per day, or in general, that's fine. I don't know if Thanos is trolling or not, but you don't need to project, bro. You might want to project, but you don't need to project. You need oxygen, you need water, you need, food. You don't need to project. Please don't be like that. Even if you're trolling, it's not really funny. That was a very, very serious statement that I made. How did you get into trading, Scrub? I was a nurse beforehand, did not like nursing. I enjoyed the helping people aspect, but I didn't like wiping people's asses. So I switched careers to finance, and I get to pretty much, I love what I do. I'm able to help others, give back. So this is my way of giving back to others, but just, I want to see other people succeed because I know everyone is capable of succeeding. Even if you don't think so yourself, I believe in you. So it's time for you to believe in yourself. What platform do I use for trades? I use Thinkorswim. Yeah, I wiped ass. I was a nurse. Yeah. A lot of people are asking about my information. Hold on. 1 sec. Here, I'll drop my stuff that you could message me on 1 sec. Oh, thanks, Joe. You're the best. Yeah, that's my information right there, guys. If you want to chat with me, feel free to message me privately if you have any questions. You want to talk trade reviews, anything like that. If you want to talk about the mentorship, just message me privately. We can happily talk about it. I'll answer a couple more questions. I went a lot, way over than I wanted to, so I'll answer a couple more questions. I'm going to head out for tonight. Whatever you have left, just throw it at me and I got you. Your YouTube channel is a hidden gem. Hey, thanks. You're the best. Is there any way to decrease Thinkorswim fees? Yes. Message them, message the support privately, and usually you can get at least a 10-cent decrease. Now, once you have more trades in a bigger account and you trade more often, then you can reduce your commissions even lower. But usually you have to have a larger account to really get your commissions down. But usually your commissions will be 65-cent open and 65-cent close. But if you message the support, usually they'll get you down to 55 cents each way. Now, once you get below 55 cents, you have to have a larger account. How many plays do you do a day? 1 to 3. I don't really trade very much. Is Friday risky to trade? If you trade 0 DT, yes. If you trade next week's expiration, no. Do you scalp? Any rule of thumb for the open drive? Make sure the volume is abnormally high, and we're either making a higher high and a higher low, or a lower high and a lower low going right into open, because usually you can get some sort of a continuation based play. What do I mean by milk the play? Honestly, just don't, just leave runners, have runners, trim, and don't just cut every position at once. Like if you have like 5 contracts, don't just cut all 5 at once, just trim along the way and just really be comfortable adding and subtracting into your positions and identify a winning trade that's clearly directional. Those are the trades you want to do your absolute best with, not cutting super early. How do you handle taxes? Call an accountant. I'm not an accountant, bro. Just call an accountant. It'll be super easy. Do you used to trade with a lot of indicators? Yes, I used to trade with tons of indicators. Wasn't very helpful. Definitely super overwhelming. Tons of information at once. I got really, confused and cluttered. So now I trade with a couple indicators, very, not too many indicators, and it definitely cleared up my mental state. It's not super, a lot of information just coming at me at once. So yeah, definitely less is more, in my opinion. What do you think of Bitcoin? I don't really know. One sec, I don't really look at Bitcoin. Well, there's your levels. We're in between 18K and 23K. Nothing's going to happen until one of those breaks. Pretty easy. What indicators do I use? I use exponential moving averages, 200 and 300 day, VWAP, and SVP, which is a volume profile. Do you think crypto is legit or a scam? I'm sorry, excuse me. I think cryptocurrency is legitimate unless the government can really get a part of it, get their hands on it, then it can become a little sketchy. But at the current moment in time, I do believe Bitcoin's fine. Or I'm sorry, not Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency is fine. Scrub, do you think Bitcoin rallying right now shows bullish signs for tomorrow? Very possible. Anything can happen overnight. Futures doesn't really become active until like 2 or 3 a.m. anyway. So we don't really know until tomorrow morning. But yeah, so here is my information one more time. If you want to chat with me, if you want to have talk about trades, any questions, always happy to help a fellow trader. Appreciate you guys for staying on. We definitely went pretty almost 2 hours or so, actually about an hour and 15 minutes. We wanted to do 30 minutes. So I really do appreciate you guys for staying on longer. If you guys have any other questions, if you think of something after the fact, you just want to chat, just always happy to help you guys. I just want to see you guys succeed. So just message me privately and we can chat. Enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Stay safe, sleep tight, and I will see you tomorrow. Mentorship starts tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want a slot, message me. First come, first serve. Toodaloo. Be safe.